In April 2025, I embarked on a journey from Lokwape village to the heart of global indigenous advocacy, New York City, to attend the 24th session of United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues. The theme was the implementation of UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. And I knew I carried not just the name tag, but the voices of Nama and San people of Botswana. The journey began at Gaborone International Airport, a familiar place, yet this time it felt different. I had the statements to finalize, thoughts to rehearse, and the weight of expectation to carry. International platforms like this demand preparation and representation with purpose. From Gaborone to Johannesburg and onward across the Atlantic, the long-haul flights gave me time to reflect on what this opportunity truly meant. As I landed in New York, I was reminded our local struggles are part of a much broader global conversation.
Offered this statement fully aligned with the UNPFII 25 theme, implementing the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People within United Nations member states and the United Nations
city was fast,
including identifying
loud,
practices and
and alive.
challenges. For nearly
But inside the halls of the UN, the tone was focused and urgent. Indigenous voices from every continent gathered with one goal: to accelerate full implementation of
principles enshrined in the UNDRIP. We acknowledge and welcome a recent development by Botswana government.
I had the honor of delivering a 3-minute intervention on behalf of the Nama and San people of Botswana.
Mr Gaoberekwe Pitseng
I spoke
at the
of our
Central
shared
Kgalagadi Game
realities,
Reserve during the
our
International
resilience,
Human Rights
and our
Day
right to
of,
be
last year
recognized,
was
consulted,
symbolic.
and
The symbolic
protected
act
under international
signifies a potential shift
norms.
towards recognizing our spiritual ties to land and cultural practices, acknowledging the profound injustice of the elder being denied burial on his ancestral land for 3 years by the previous administration. This dignified burial, facilitated by the new administration soon after assuming office, offers a hopeful step towards recognizing past violations. Furthermore, the newly established commission to consult with the San people with special focus on our women presents a promise for inclusive dialogue. However, a significant challenge remains: the exclusion of San and Nama NGOs, who are integral to Botswana indigenous heritage, from these consultations. A Guinean and comprehensive implementation of principles of UNDRIP and free, prior, and informed consent demands the active and meaningful involvement of all indigenous representatives to ensure the legitimacy and effectiveness of these efforts. To advance the implementation of UNDRIP in Botswana, we respectfully urge our government to deepen its commitment by legally recognizing indigenous land tenure and restitution rights, ensuring the protection
In my statement,
of
I also
land
applauded the
and
current
preventing
administration of
forced
Botswana
relocation in
for
full
finally
accordance
allowing the burial
with
of Mr.
Articles
Pitseng
25, 26, and
on his
27
ancestral land,
of the
a
UNDRIP.
human right
We ask for special
that had been
focus to
denied
be
for
given to
over
our
2 years
indigenous
by
women
the previous
by
government.
institutionalizing
It
indigenous
was a small
representation within
but
national
symbolic
decision-making
victory
structures,
for dignity
including the House of
and
Chiefs,
ancestral
to guarantee our
justice.
voices directly shape policies affecting lives.
Okay, thank you, Anthony. And when you started, you mentioned acceleration of UNDRIP. How I wish I could say Botswana is in that position, which is very unfortunate.
Beyond the official
because
sessions,
for you to accelerate,
these gatherings
there
are
certain
space of
basic
connection,
things, human rights
where
things
indigenous
that you need
people
to do,
share
which
stories,
speaks to
strategies, and
as a
solidarity.
nation.
The conversations,
It speaks to
the
the
side
right
events,
to land,
and even the quiet
and
moments
all
in
this that I'm
between
saying
were
the
deeply
Nama
grounding.
community does not have. So we may accelerate, yes, but definitely Botswana will be behind, because there are other fundamental issues that needs to be done to recognize Nama and the San people as indigenous peoples first, and scrapped out from the minority status. Because if you are classified as a minority or marginalized, that means we don't even have land. We're talking about the revitalization of culture and heritage. You can only do that when you have your own land. So without that, it only becomes a dream. But here's the thing, perhaps almost 60 years with the previous government, all these things, it's a fight that those before us and us have fought and failed. But recently we have a new government that at least from their tone, it seems to be heading towards women as based approach. And there is a little bit of hope that perhaps for us to come in these platforms and advance this, and this is one way of communicating with them. Us making interventions in the United Nations Permanent Forum is one of those other streams that the government will also see that the injustices that have been done before needs to be corrected, and the only time is now for the new government to actually do that. And I want to say this to the Nama community, perhaps in my mother tongue, to say, Namakhoen, mapatska hanga bisina, who ase ancestral, nisa se kai, sikona miba taitsa kai, sisa ata koreba kuntuna kai simire. Mapatska noza se sinise hiva skuru kawangu ya huimita mayo, otske kwekan anidide, huna sta koreba kaige kwen andide, saska nai kai, si huimi in kwanan an mabatsan kaiser o twin geni kwanani a nen house ke hanakama nen house ke kai kong si gunga oba punga hape kaisis kan kawaba sen si koba sen o tuts ke kwan karan an kai si kwan kara chomi habe ta ke chomi ko kai je da ke ngaisa khoida si da ke kais to se si kwanani mi ba ta na da koreba kaiser.
As I boarded my return flight, I carried back more than memories. I carried inspiration, new networks, and a renewed commitment to amplify our indigenous narratives from Botswana, to ensure they echo not just in New York, but in every policy room and community space that matters. From Lokwabe to United Nations, this was not just my journey, it was ours.
On behalf of Captain Stefan Kutsia and the rest of the amazing ending team, we wish you a safe and pleasant onwards journey. Thank you, take care, and goodbye.